Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Get Unstuck series with myself, Sarah Archer. I'm a career and leadership coach, and I work predominantly with mid to senior professional women around a whole variety of things to do with their careers. So career change, career confidence, career success, and career happiness, which is what we're talking about today. And it's great to be back. I took a bit of a break over the summer, but I'm back now with the lives every Wednesday, except I'm going to move it to every other Wednesday. So there'll be 2 lives a month, 12:15, always very short, 15 to 20 minutes, so bite-sized to fit into your working day. And I kind of decided to do these to just kind of give you topics to think about, to focus on, to make your career more enjoyable, more successful, to give you some ideas and actions to take away from each live that you could put into place and use successfully in your career. So if you are listening to me, and I am doing this simultaneously on LinkedIn and Facebook, which is a first. So if you are listening, please do say hello. It's always great to know there are people on with me. And if you've got questions about today's topic or comments on it, I'd love to hear from you. So don't hold back. Do put your comments or questions into the thread, and I'll do my best to answer them today. Or if not, I'll come back to them later. So today we are talking about career happiness, which is really important, isn't it? You know, everyone knows the stats that we work around or over 90,000 hours in our lifetime, which is a significant amount of time to be at work. So we do want those hours to count, don't we? We want to kind of feel that actually we're getting enjoyment, satisfaction, fulfillment, happiness from the time that we're spending at work. That we're away from the people that we care about. So we want to make sure that those hours count. And I always kind of think about, if you get to the end of your working life, so you're in your 80s, you don't want to kind of be looking back with regret and thinking, God, why did I stay in that job for so long? That job that I hated, that was making me really unhappy. Why did I stay there for so long? Or thinking, why didn't I do anything to kind of move things forward in terms of my enjoyment levels in my career? Why did I sort of stay in that kind of average job for so long? So it is important to kind of pay attention to career happiness, but I think it kind of gets either forgotten, or we think we don't have any control over it, that it's kind of fate will decide whether we're going to have an environment that we're happy in, or people that we work with that enjoyable to work with, or that we have a good boss, or the work we do is kind of enjoyable. We think we don't have control over it. But there are some obviously real benefits to increasing happiness levels at work. There's been some interesting research done that has shown that there is, and it's no surprise really, that there is a link between how happy we are and our creativity at work. So the happier that we are at work, the more creative we're going to be, the more innovative we're going to be, and the better problem solvers we're going to be. And it becomes that kind of virtuous circle, doesn't it? So the more creative we are, the better problem solving we are, the more innovative we feel, the better we perform, the more happiness that we get, the more success we get. So it's definitely kind of worth thinking about, how can I increase my career happiness? And then the other bit of research, which was done by Oxford University, and is really interesting because there haven't been a kind of causal link to prove before this piece of research, that actually happiness does increase our productivity at work. So obviously for employers, this is really powerful as a driver to look at how they can help employees to become happier in their jobs. So this particular study showed that workers that were happier in what they were doing were 13% more productive in their jobs. And that wasn't about spending more time at work, that was actually being more productive in what they were doing on a day-to-day basis. So there's some really powerful arguments, if you like, for looking at ways, both as an employer and an employee, that you can increase happiness at work. And, obviously I've worked with a lot of career changers over my sort of 15 years of career coaching. And career changers obviously want to change career because they're not happy doing what they're doing. So I did a lot of reflection about the things that they were telling me that weren't working in their careers and what they were looking for in their next career in order to find career happiness. And I came up with a formula for career happiness, which I'm going to share with you today. And the thing about the formula is kind of using it in an intentional way, because I think it is about knowing that you can actually take control of your career happiness levels, but you do have to be intentional about it. So you do have to kind of be proactive in making it happen, and also be prepared to make changes if you can't get what you need in your existing situation or organization. So it is just being able to kind of have that ability to reflect on what you need and then to think about how you can put it into place. So I'm going to share my formula, and I would love to hear from you what you think about the formula, whether it resonates with you. So the formula is career happiness equals freedom plus challenge plus balance minus stress times meaning. And I'm going to break all of those elements down, and they're all important. But what I would say is they're going to mean different things to different people, and that's absolutely fine. And it's thinking about what your own interpretation of these elements is for you. So the first one, freedom. So that could be about choice over how you do what you do. So having that autonomy to decide how you're going to approach a particular piece of work or a project, that you're not being micromanaged and told how to do something. It could also be about how you do your work in terms of the hours that you work, the days that you work, when you choose to work, where you choose to work from. So having that freedom of choice. Or it could be about the freedom to be yourself at work, to bring your whole self to work, and to not feel that you can't show all of your personality at work if you choose to. Or it could be all of those elements for you. So then we've got plus challenge. Now, challenge, as we know, if you have too little challenge in your job, that can lead to boredom and frustration because it's just not stretching you enough. But too much challenge can tip over into stress if we don't feel that we've got the resources or the capability yet to do what we're being asked to do, that can actually feel like a very stressful part of challenge. So what we're looking for is challenge where you have the competence to do it, you've got capability, you can do it, but it's still stretching you, it's taking you out of your comfort zone. And that tips you into something called flow, which is a psychological state, which is optimal performance, where you're just, you're living the dream, you're loving what you're doing, time is just flying, you're just absorbed in what you do. So that's where you've got competence and the stretch and the challenge. So that's what we'd be looking for in terms of that element of the formula. And then we've got balance, which again is kind of interesting because it can be different elements of balance. So it could be about time. So it could be about making sure you've got time to do the things that you love. So spending time with people that you want to spend time with, having a chance to be creative, having a chance to exercise, having the chance to rest and recharge. And it can also be balanced around kind of headspace. So having the opportunity to switch off, to reflect, to kind of feed your well-being, but not necessarily in a doing way. So really thinking about what is the balance that you need in order to thrive. Then we've got the first minus in the formula. So the first three elements are plus, so freedom plus challenge plus balance. Then we've got the first minus, which is minus stress, which is kind of a bit of a no-brainer really, isn't it? Because if you have overwhelm, overload, pressure, lack of resources or support, just feeling stressed out, which then obviously can impact our mental health, can make us feel anxious, can ultimately lead to burnout if it's not successfully managed. All of that can wipe out career happiness in one fell swoop. So even if you've got all those other things in place, if stress is around you and you feel it's unmanageable, it is going to just wipe out your career happiness. So that's why we want a bit of stress in terms of the challenge piece, but we don't want the overload, the overwhelm, and the pressure that's unhealthy, which I know is a challenge to manage in today's society, but it's a really important element to be mindful of. And then we've got the multiplier, which is meaning. And meaning is super important, because if we don't have meaning in what we do, if we feel that we're not adding value or making a difference, or our work has got no purpose, there's no reason to it, we can't see that reason or that purpose, then it can feel soul destroying. It can just lead us to feel, God, why am I bothering? Putting all this energy and effort in, and it's just meaningless. So meaning is really important, but meaning is also, it's quite subjective. It can feel hard to define, and it can be different for different people. So it could be around learning and growth. It could be around, adding value in some way, making a difference, either through the organisation you work for or directly. It could be around just having a sense of purpose, and it's often connected to your value system. So if you can see that your work is somehow linked to your why, to why you do what you do, to the values that are important to you, then that will be a way of finding meaning in what you do. So really understanding what your values are, your drivers, what's important to you, can be really key to finding meaning in what you do. Even if you think, I really can't see the meaning in this role, you'll be able to find it if you can link it to your values. So that's the formula, but there is something hovering around the kind of career happiness formula that I can't put into the formula, but we still have to be cognizant of it, and that's money. Because obviously money is important. It enables us to have the lifestyle that we want, that will bring happiness to us and increase our well-being. But money on its own does not bring happiness. If you've ever had a job where you've been chasing the money but not having the meaning, you'll know that it's not sustainable in the long term. But, also you'll know if you've been in a job where you don't feel you're recognized and rewarded appropriately, financially, then that will affect your career happiness. So money is an important thing to be mindful of in the career happiness, but I didn't want to put it into the happiness formula for obvious reasons. So that's the formula, and I'd love to know what you think about it, if you've got any comments on it. I'm going to share with you now 5 actions that you can take to start to think about how you can increase your happiness at work. So the first one is to just kind of do a bit of a review, and you can use the formula as a structure to help you kind of review, okay, what's working? What do I have? What do I feel happy about? What do I need to kind of dial up a bit because it's not quite meeting what I need? Or if it's the stress bit, how can I look at minimizing that? So that's the first thing, is to do a bit of review and make a bit of a plan about what changes you need to put into place, what actions you can take to increase your happiness at work. And then obviously it's important to talk to your boss or your team about the changes that you want to make and get buy-in. And obviously you've got a lot of powerful arguments for increasing, finding ways to increase happiness at work around the kind of productivity research, the creativity research, but also being prepared that if it's not possible to get those changes in your current job or your current organization, what does then that mean in terms of future changes around finding a new organization or a new role? So that's what I meant about being prepared to make a change if you feel your organization just isn't open to giving you what you need to increase the happiness in your current role. And then we can do some other things around career happiness. So one of them is developing a positive mindset, because the way we view the world will impact our happiness levels. And obviously you can think about, if you're a bit of a news junkie, obviously a lot of the news in the world can be quite depressing. It can bring you down. So if you like looking at the news, you've got to think about, well, how can I balance that? What else could I bring in? Maybe I want to do a gratitude practice as well, because that could help me counter some of the negativity from constantly scanning the news. So thinking about how you can increase your positive mindset. So things like learning, being creative, being curious, helping others, maybe becoming a mentor, those kind of things can help increase your positive mindset. And the last thing would be to think about what I call this kind of spreading the love, because emotions are contagious, and negative emotion is particularly contagious. So thinking about who you spend time with. So if you've got a group of co-workers who like to kind of have a bit of a moan, who like to criticize the organization or particular leaders in the organization, thinking about maybe finding other people that you can kind of hang out with who have a more positive approach to work, because that will impact you and how you feel about work on a day-to-day basis. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you think some of the actions you could take now to increase your happiness, or look at how you can increase your happiness. If this is something you want to explore in a bit more detail, I am running a free career success challenge in a couple of weeks, starting on the 3rd of October, which is called From Confusion to Clarity, where we look at some of these areas in a bit more detail to help you get clear about what you need to do to bring more success, because the happier you are, the more success you'll have in your career. So they go hand in hand. And certainly we do quite a bit of work around the values and meaning piece. If that's something you're interested in exploring more, you could sign up for the challenge. It's completely free. And although it's over 5 days, it's not 5 full days. It is minimum 15 to 30 minutes a day to get maximum value from the challenge. There's lots of extra things you can do, and I'm just posting the link now in the thread. So if you wanted to do that challenge with me and get lots of support around understanding what's important to you in your career, then please do sign up for it, and you'll get all the information you need to start on the 3rd of October. So I hope you have a fantastic week. I will be back here in 2 weeks' time with a different topic to help you dial up your career and get from it what you need. And I look forward to seeing you then, and hopefully seeing you in my challenge on the 3rd of October too. Thanks very much for joining me.